Welcome to Slayerfest 98. I'm your host, Ian Carlos Crawford, and joining me for this first episode of Loki, I have the author of Surrender Your Sons,
Adam Sass.
Hi, Adam.
Hi.
And in the next corner, I have freelance entertainment journalist and comic book writer,
Stephanie Williams.
And last but not least, I have senior reporter and producer at Decider.com.
Hi, it's Brett White.
Hi, everyone. I feel like this is like the nerd all-star episode.
Well, this is a nerd all-star episode of television.
True.
This is like nerds only.
So we are here to discuss the first episode of Loki. We'll give first reactions at the top of this. I'm trying to switch it up a little bit. Also, I'm going to tell you all, I haven't taken the photo for this yet, so if anyone has any good ideas, let me know. If any pop into your head.
A clock!
I literally was looking for clocks around the house. I was like, what would be cool? Nope, none of these would work.
Your dad has to have some watch.
Well, he has my Grandpa Crawford's. There's this fucking huge wall clock that doesn't work and is made of dark wood, but it just looks like a horror movie house or a racist house, which this where it came from. He was my grandpa would be like, oh, my dad built this, blah, 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 blah. So, that's the only clock we have.
Okay.
Stephanie, what was your first thought on this episode?
I loved it. I thought that it was a nice blend of both WandaVision, more WandaVision than Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but I thought it was a nice blend of both. And by that, I mean the type of storytelling for each first episode for those series. I love the way that they did do the exposition in this. So I'm ready. Also got 2 Black women in the first episode. So, I was living.
Yes, I was like, ooh, I see Marvel's putting 2 Black women. Oh my God. When we saw, I forget what's the woman's name who was at I know the actress's name, but I forget the character's
Wumi
name.
Musaku?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Who was B-15? Yeah.
I was like, oh.
Hunter, who's that time loop moment was...
Adam, what was your...
I loved... I had a good time. Listen, I was ready for some fantasy Marvel shenanigans after that hard-boiled realism of Falcon Winter Soldier. I was ready to kind of get back into the and I'm such a multiverse dimensional time travel. I'm such a time travel person, period. So I was really happy to kind of get into this and have it explore kind of a new fantasy world. And the Madripoor stuff was my favorite part of Falcon Winter Soldier. Anytime it's let's just get out of reality a little bit. I don't know. Don't look into that. I'm not going to investigate that too much. Me wanted to depart this lived experience. But no, I had a really good time. And, it was a little setup-y, which is, it's MCU.
Yeah.
But I always wish they just dropped 2 episodes at once. But I am not Kevin Feige, so.
Brett, what was your first reaction?
Yeah, I loved it. I'm fucking basic. Love everything. No, I also prefer it's just so weird. It is so black humor. It's very The Office meets True Detective times Rick and Morty. It's just pulling from all these dark, disparate, weird places. All of the little mundane humor, the whole metal detector gag. I'm that I live for that stuff. But the extended scene of just Owen Wilson and Tom Hiddleston acting was... I thought, it was some of the best television I've seen in so long, and some of the best writing and set design. It's just Marvel should get credit for they don't play it safe, and I think that a lot of people that call themselves movie Twitter and whatnot think that they play it safe.
Y'all.
Here we go.
Let's get.
Oh, now the tweets are starting up.
This is what I said in my review. Martin Scorsese.
Jesus Christ.
But if you want to do a safe Marvel TV show, you do Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. You do not do WandaVision or Loki.
Right.
They don't have to do this.
Listen,
for some reason.
I want to say a disclaimer. I do like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It was Ming-Na Wen was my favorite interview I did last year. I need to just put that out there. I understand the problems people have with it.
It's fine. Those fans seem to understand, though, that shit ain't canon anymore.
See, Ian, you got some fancy guests on this show. All of a sudden, your coverage is a little skewed. All of a sudden, you're not so quick to an opinion.
Oh, Ian sell out? Shocking. Who knew? I'll do whatever the fuck it takes.
In the year 2021, if you're giving me money?
I agree. I thought this was taking like a lot of great, risks and chances, and was really and again, the sign of taking chances is patience. This was a very slow burn, patient story. It took its time bringing us in, and I
think I kept thinking like there was a moment in it when I said this is becoming a little tedious because we'd already seen a lot of the like this is your life clips. But then that only lasted for maybe 2 minutes. And then I was like, wait, I'm back in, because I do think Tom Hiddleston, the advantage he has here is that he is so charming. And I'm not like a huge stan of his, but like I was remembering how enjoyable he is to watch on screen throughout this first episode. And like just him like slip sliding around this agency where he doesn't know shit. He's being humbled. It was very enjoyable. And I liked all the other actors were also really good. And, I think we were introduced. I mean, I don't know if all three of them will be main characters or whatever, but we were introduced to them enough that it's like we get a handle on, well, especially Mobius. And I liked that. I liked it was slow, but it didn't feel like crawling. I don't know. Clearly they had a lot of things to present, right? To remind us, like their mother's death, which they have retroactively made Dark World so much more important. And I do appreciate that, because it bothered me in Dark World that their mom died, and it was like, oop, we paused for a second. Now we're gonna keep going. It's no big deal. And then didn't talk about it till fucking Endgame.
Dark World has become like the nexus being of the MCU, where it's just like
Dark World and Age of Ultron.
It's like weirdly like the crux. Yeah.
But it's actually going to, like Age of Ultron, they kept trying to like push that. And it's like, but actually, no. For the Dark World, you can go back and you can say, okay, I get it. Like I can feel differently about this movie. Age of Ultron.
It's fine.
Yeah. Good luck staying awake.
I'm happy for the Phase 2 retconning.
Yes.
Right.
I will say, I've always been a fan of the Thor movies, not because I think for the first Thor, I mean, I haven't revisited in a while. I remember really loving that. Dark World, I remember being like, but I think that Chris Hemsworth and Tom Hiddleston's chemistry is always just really fun. And like throw in Kat Dennings, who I love, like, cool. Yeah. And she had a boyfriend named Ian in Dark World. I was like, great, good for me. Like, I don't know. But so this show. Oh, and a thing I have to ask all three of you that I feel like one of you will know, was that Frigga and Loki scene that we saw, was that a new scene? Where it's like right after his capture?
No, that was in Dark World.
Was it?
We just recently rewatched it because there was a whole bunch of movies my husband hadn't seen, and so I was taking him through them, and so he was very impatient with the recapedness of this episode because we had just watched everything.
Disney Plus is counting on Dark World's reputation, meaning that no one's watched it in 6 years or something.
That scene was new to a lot of viewers, so there you go.
Yeah,
right.
I just like couldn't remember. I was like, is this like my role in my head? I was like, oh, is this like B-roll like they did with Natalie Portman in Endgame?
Yeah.
I think it's so iconic. I love when like the MCU, which is so polished and like like very very like image cultivated, really shows the film's flaws, like the like this clearly was they had some footage or that they were losing daylight. They need to just get that quickly. It's the flaw in the.
Or they only had Kat Dennings on set for an hour, so she just crashes a car and leaves the rest of the series.
It's just a PA in a wig with glasses on. It wasn't even her.
I mean, speaking about that, it's going to be very interesting to see how Loki deals with the pandemic, because I do think that unlike Falcon Winter Soldier and WandaVision, which had the misfortune of already having a lot shot before everything had to shut down, and then both those series suffered a lot for all of those changes. But like Loki, I think had only been shooting for a couple weeks.
Okay.
And so part of me wonder, like, I'm hoping that, they actually were able to figure out what they were doing and were going to give us, a thought out 6-part story that doesn't have to pivot halfway through.
Which would be nice.
Well, that would be good. I mean, I think the Loki writer who is working a lot on the Multiverse of Madness. I know Multiverse of Madness had a big stop and rethink in the script department, but
well, yeah, I think from reading one of your recaps, Brett, that's how I figured. I didn't realize it was the same writer for Multiverse of Madness and this show.
Yeah. Michael Waldron.
And we'll get there, but I mean, this show like immediately ties into that because they say the word out loud.
I was Leo pointing meme when they were like, this multiverse could devolve into madness. And I was like, no, that's that one.
I was like, they said the thing. They said the thing.
They said the thing. I paused it. My husband was getting so impatient with my pausing on this. I was like, what does that gum say? What does that gum say? There's a clue.
Oh, your husband's
and
gonna
then
love
the Nexus Being situation. I was like, there's Wanda. There she is.
We got her girl.
The Nexus moment in the multiverse, and then there's madness happening.
But also, before we get into the beats of the show, Brett, tell us about who you interviewed from this show in the beginning of the week.
I interviewed Michael Waldron, the writer. I interviewed Wumi Musaku, who plays B-15. And then I also interviewed Tom Hiddleston. So Wumi was so great. I mean, like I interviewed at 9:40 a.m. on a Monday, interviewing Tom Hiddleston via Zoom.
Great interview energy time.
But what I think carries through Loki, and I think honestly one of the reasons why this character works and persists and is still around and is probably. I mean, they're already saying there's going to be a season 2 of this, which they did not go that far for Wanda and Falcon.
Right.
I do think it's because Tom Hiddleston loves Loki more than literally anyone else on Earth. He is so passionate. Like I asked him a question. First of all, he responds in quotes from movies because he still has all the dialogue memorized. Owen Wilson talked about how Tom Hiddleston went around set giving Loki lectures to people and like, hey, Q&A, what do you need to know about Loki? And we just tell them. And he did that to like the props people and like designers so that they could actually like understand his psychology of like Loki and where he's coming from. Like, but I asked him just the question of like, when they were showing all the scenes back, what was it like, having to watch development of a character that you were there, but like your character doesn't remember? And then he gave this answer that was like, well, you know how like we have memories. And so if a thing that is from the future can kind of have like a past recollection. So I was kind of playing it as if I was recalling a memory, but it was of things in the future. I was like, what are you doing? It's like, you lost me, but this is amazing. He's just so enthusiastic.
I'm so much more Owen Wilson's energy on a set. Like I'm just like, hey, I'm just happy to be here. All right, what am I doing here? All right, I got the little time loop device thing in my hand. Okay, here we
go. I think that's really cool that you got to interview them. I also can't tell from that description. I'm like, oh, but he's so charming. But also, I might fucking hate someone who's going around set quizzing me on my job.
He wasn't quizzing. He was more like just to not sully the good man's name. A lot of like, when Owen Wilson got cast, he said, I went to Tom and was like, can you just tell me, like, what am I getting myself into?
Yeah.
And then they all positioned it as Tom made himself available to like literally everyone on set to come and ask him questions. Like he had the costume department came to him and was like, why does Loki wear the horns? Like, when does he wear them? Why does he wear them? Why does he not wear them? Asking him things like, which I think is kind of evident in this episode when, he's getting all of his clothes disintegrated. And he's like, this is fine Asgardian leather, which is like, yeah, I don't know if we would have gotten a detail like that in a previous thing. But like, Tom Hiddleston's probably thought about it.
Gosh, Taylor Swift is like, enough with the Loki lectures. I don't need that again.
I forgot she dated.
Yeah.
Fucking weird.
I think the internet is better that they are not together because I cannot imagine two more passionate Twitter fandoms.
I was just going to say, yeah, we know we're fine.
I was like, please choose your words carefully. I don't want to.
Very passionate.
But okay, so we open on Endgame. We kind of get all that. We see Loki step out. Stephanie, you are a writer of comic books. Do you think they had this planned the whole time for the show? Like that's why they had Loki do that in Endgame?
So this is something that we've been joking about, or I've learned that other writers joke about, and it's, yeah, sure, we had that planned all along. So I would like to think that they did plan it, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was a thing of, we'll have this available, and then maybe we might circle back to it if Tom Hiddleston and we can get him back for a contract or whatever. So I'm gonna say yes and support that they had this planned all along.
So he transports to the desert, which is where we get our first new footage, where the show kind of starts. And this scene starts the kind of, which I love, the whole show is about almost not like breaking him down, but bringing him down a peg. And I feel like this starts it, right? Because Loki's telling these people, but then the TVA folks arrive and they are not pressed at all about what's going on. They're just like, oh, we got to get him. We got to bring him back. Blah, blah. He's a variant.
I also like how like Loki starts that scene talking to like the people that are living in the desert. He's like, I'm here to rule. But then the instant that people step out of a teleportation window, he's basically like, oh, bye, I'm going over here. Like he just completely goes over to them and then they arrest his ass.
Well, I mean, they had a real tough job ahead of them, which is like, this is the Loki who is like,
peak evil.
4 hours post genocide of the planet.
Yeah.
So, and we had to get him down to that lovable version that took like a few movies to get him to.
Yeah.
So go do that. You're a writer.
Yeah. Go do that.
But you know what? That's kind of fun though.
Yeah.
Because like you get to like, go back and they kind of get to rewrite some of the stuff that Josh Whedon did, as far as like this little dictator that Loki was for until he, turned the corner and became a better person. So
I loved Owen Wilson playing the scene of him like sucking a man's eye out of its socket, and then Owen's like, no, look, you're smiling. You're enjoying this.
I actually forgot. I was
like, shit.
Yeah. I honestly had forgotten how like he wasn't, because right, like immediately after, even starting in Avengers, it starts on that, but like immediately after Avengers, he becomes wacky villain who can't really catch a break. But like this is still like villain, and when we saw that scene, I was like, wait, what movie is that in? And I was like, oh, that's in Avengers. Like,
because before the Hulk like bangs him back and forth. Yeah. Loki is actually, a legitimate villain that you're kind of like, will he stab me? I'm not sure. And you're not really joking about it. But like, I feel like that moment after, his run-in with Bruce Banner was the turning point. And we were like, oh no, you're just a lovable fool.
You're silly.
Right.
Oh, you're cute.
You were the Michael Cohen of this universe.
Oh my God.
You were gonna... I was a little freaked out by you, but now you're all right. Okay.
Yeah, now it's fine. You're not going to do anything. But the thing I really love that's throughout, it starts right here at the beginning, how the TVA folks, they're not panicked about him. They don't really give a shit. He's just kind of an annoyance, right?
It's fascinating, and I know like we're jumping around here, but like I think like one of the most like effective scenes in the whole piece for me was like him finding that like junky, forgotten, stupid office drawer full of Infinity Stones. Oh yeah, and they were just useless. And I was like, we for 20 movies were obsessed over just touching these would kill you. Like,
yeah, they're paperweights here.
Because for a second I was like, ooh, does that mean he's gonna harness the power? And then I was like, oh wait, they don't do anything there.
That was a full game changer for that. That was when I kind of leaned. That was the first time I leaned forward in the seat in the show. It was like, ooh, okay, this is presenting me with something new.
Real quick before the tweets start, I just want everyone to know that we know that the Infinity Stones, depending on what Marvel universe they come from, whether it's a 616 or Marvel 2839, whatever, that different Infinity Stones will not work in other universes. We understand that. Also, we do also understand that they're not going to work at the TVA because the TVA is like this, I guess, safe zone.
Magic
Please don't
vortex.
tweet me.
Yeah,
yeah, right. So
yeah.
put your tweet away.
It's like capture the flag. Like it's like safe. It's like
right.
this is whatever's happening doesn't matter here.
Yes, please don't yell at us. Okay, I just wanted to put that out there. Yes,
or yell at me. Yell at me. I don't care. Come at me. I've got a lot going on in my life. I have a lot of energy I need to take out on some people. So like, come yell at me about this thing.
Yeah. You heard it here. Adam wants it. So
yes, and then I will come and I will watch it via my Twitter quietly, and then text Adam.
Oh my god!
And make fun of you.
Stephanie and I will look at the tweets, but we will not engage.
Like immediately regret it. Yeah.
Anyway, so Loki they bring him through the porthole. It makes a little like ding elevator noise. So a question I had, which I wasn't 100% positive on, that I wondered if all of you guys were, like they say, like reset the timeline. Does that mean that this Loki is like now existing outside of time, like as of right now, and then either have to put him back so that all of those things did happen, but if they don't put him back, it doesn't happen? Or is this Loki now like completely existing outside of everything and it doesn't matter, all of that already happened?
I think the simplest, to me, as someone who does not know the comics or does not know if this is like, oh, this is the run in 1999 when something, I don't know.
He's talking about you, Brett and Stephanie.
No, this is not. That is the thing. This show is like 90% original concepts.
Yeah,
which is great. Which is which is amazing. Again, this is no. I'm not looking down anybody. This is me talking about my ass. So again, when you come to yell at me, make sure you understand that I'm the fool in this one because Tom Lenk isn't on this episode. So I think, yes, I think for simplicity's sake, I think he's just at a time and he's not here to correct his own stuff. He's here to like stop different branches from getting out of control like the other people are doing.
Okay. Stephanie, what's your take on it? What do you think?
Basically what Adam just said. So he has now become a time variant. So as I would understand it, he's like diverged off of whatever his path was supposed to be. And I feel like that other Loki is still in existence or something. Right? Yeah.
I'm still very dubious if Owen Wilson was even telling the truth on that. We will have to wait and see. You don't just reveal. I mean, that seems like a reveal that actually is concealing a different truth.
The space lizards, we got it. Like, I'm still not convinced those things exist. Even though I know they're in the comics, but there's a very... Oh, man. I've seen episode 2, and so I'm trying to like not make... I don't want Ian to have to edit out things I might spoil, so I'm going to stop talking.
Brett coming in here with the screener culture. I have, as someone who has seen.
Sorry.
As someone of episode 2 watching experience.
Stephanie, did you get screeners too?
No, surprisingly I didn't. Everyone thinks that I did, and I'm just like, no, they don't.
Run with it.
So Brett's the only fancy one here. Okay. So yeah, I don't know. That was the only thing that I was like, they're kind of explaining it, but they're getting up to the finish line of explaining what it means that he's a variant, but like not quite. Like I don't know if he goes back where do they put him back? Do they put him back so that doesn't happen and he never picks up the Tesseract and is able to disappear?
All of the timeline stuff doesn't make any sense either, because I did realize this while writing about this episode, that the whole thing in Endgame, so Hulk always took the stairs. He never took the elevator. They always made him take the stairs. That wasn't the original, and so when he busts out of, the thing, because he took the stairs and then knocking Tony, which then... Tony Stark should have remembered, oh yeah, when we got downstairs, Hulk like ran out, like busted through the wall. But instead, Tony Stark, who has already been there before, is running with the Tesseract in a case right into the Hulk's path. And so it's like, that itself is this weird time thing of like, no, something about in Endgame, them going back in time should have made the Hulk have to take the stairs. So therefore it was a new thing that Tony didn't know about, but nope, he did know about it and he just ran into it anyway. Right. So the timeline stuff is all goofy. Like Captain America, Peggy Carter, what are we talking about here?
Well, I mean, like, this is... Because I think they tried to be real clear in Endgame about the time travel rules, that this was like, throw out Terminator, throw out Back to the Future, throw out all that. That this was like, we were dealing with branches of different versions of stuff. So they were going back to a different version. So maybe in that version, he took this, maybe there was a different thing. There was some small difference.
The escalator.
He did. Right. He rappelled down. Because in that version, like, then you'd have the whole thing of like Captain America would have remembered meeting himself and fighting himself.
Right. But then taking that in consideration, because I thought about that too, when they said like, no, the Avengers were supposed to go back and, do the thing. So Loki wasn't supposed to like steal the Tesseract. You see what I'm saying? Like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So when I got to that juncture, I was like, but wait, maybe, you know what? No one knows. It's okay. It's fine. It's a comic book show. There are space lizards.
I really appreciated that line in the trial scene where she was like, no, the Avengers were supposed to do that. And it's like, good. That is literally all the explanation we need. It's just we just need confirmation that the writer understands that we're going to have this question and then give us the bare minimum.
I mean, listen, Austin Powers 2, say what you will about it. They did it fast where they were just like, listen, just enjoy yourself. Just
you know what? Word to Austin Powers.
Mm-hmm. This will not become an Austin Powers.
I also want to be on record that my big QAnon conspiracy about the show is that there is no space lizards. It's going to be yet another appearance of celebrated character actress Jean Smart. I think she's going to show up. I think it's going to be multiple. I think it's going to be
Jean Smart as Mephisto.
Jean Smart as Mephisto. Yeah, it's going to be different. It's going to be 3 different Jean Smarts. It's going to be like. It's going to be like the Nutty Professor. It's going to be like the Nutty Professor. Yeah.
Mayor Jean Smart.
Oh my God. Now I
Watchmen Jean Smart. Designing women Jean Smart.
I mean, right? I wouldn't be mad if she popped up. We got Julia Louis-Dreyfus and Falcon Winter Soldier. We'd get Jean Smart and Loki.
Listen, we will be getting plenty of those.
I will say, Brett, I agreed with you. Or whichever one of you just said this. I was like, my notes even say, where the fuck were these people in Endgame? Like I wrote that down like 3 times. And then they said it, and I was like, "Great, now that's fine." That was
moving on. Check.
Yeah. I was like, all I needed them to say was like, "Yeah, we know Endgame happened. Yeah, it's fine. We're gonna keep going."
Yeah.
But so we get we like walk through the TVA, and I said this to you, Brett, before recording, but your aesthetic is becoming very in vogue as the aesthetic for like wacky kind of supernatural sci-fi shows, and I kind of love it.
This set design is so unlike anything Marvel's ever done. Unlike anything that it's all orange and like concrete. It's a palette that you really never see in film anymore.
It's Kubrick.
But it looks so. That's the only, it's very Clockwork Orange. It's very THX 1138. Prisoner, Alien. Like it has this specifically like 70s sci-fi vibe, and I love it. The fucking cartoon. Jay Ward, Hanna-Barbera stuff. Like, and it actually, usually when people are aping older styles of things, it like, okay, well, that doesn't look, they nailed the tone and like the film grain and the color gradation. Like, they did it so well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Tara Strong voicing, voice actress extraordinaire who's voiced so many characters that we've grown up on. I
didn't realize that was her.
Yeah,
you go to her IMDb page. It's like 5,000 things.
Yeah.
Well, she did Harley Quinn, right? At one point,
mm-hmm.
She's Harley Quinn for like the last 10 years.
Yeah, that's wild. I didn't realize that was her. But so he gets there, and this continues the. Loki is here and no one cares that he's a god, and he's yelling about being a god. And no one is impressed. No one cares. No one, doesn't matter. He's powerless. And that seems to be at least the theme of this episode, right? Him being humbled into being like, oh shit. And like even the robot's designed weird. The robot that like pulls off his clothes, even that robot's design was like very weird. Like it looked like a live action Jetsons robot.
Yeah.
Because it has like a little computer face, but like, arms or whatever. It was rude that he drops into that room and we don't even see a little butt.
I know. And I said this, did he have to be? I know Tom Hiddleston himself is buff, but like, we got another HGH guy in this universe.
I would have been more surprised if he wasn't. Actually, you know what?
Right.
It's fine. If Owen Wilson would have been jacked, then I would have been like, okay, we gotta come on, intervention now. Because like, what are we doing? Mobius,
right?
P90X.
Why does he need like a 3 month dawn to dusk workout routine?
But you know what, Loki, I can see being vain enough that he would have a Soul Cycle membership.
Soul Cycle.
He has a Peloton.
He has a pec implant surgeon. Yeah, he's
yeah. He's going to see Dr. Miami.
Thank you, Dr. Zismore.
He's getting that BBL.
Yeah. So he, goes through all these. I do like the sign this. This is everything you've ever said. I mean, we already saw a commercial, but he's like, oh, what? And he's like, oh, now this too. Like, I do like the tediousness of him doing these things.
The metal detector joke of like, wait, do a lot of people not know if they're robots?
Yeah.
Love that joke.
I was stressed because it was like, am I a robot? Is this the Matrix?
You wouldn't know. Well, I love that with the take the ticket thing, moving on to the next part, that it was just such a that this is they've all been there for eons. And they know these people aren't real. So they are not, that's why there is this very frightening coldness to the way they're just zapping everybody out of existence. Because they know that they're not either real, they have become very desensitized to stuff, which kind of really made it feel very dangerous to me. Because I was like, wow, they are not caring. They are just very eagerly zapping whatever in that place.
Yeah, the only thing they care about is the serial killer that is killing all of the squads that are going to Nexus points. That's the only time they're plucked. But the rest of it's just yeah, bye. You're bye.
Yeah, so I read, Brett, was it you? God, now I don't. I've read everyone, just so you know, go to decider.com and check out Brett's stuff, because
fucking
Brett,
dozen articles. God, it's been
already,
a hell week.
Yeah, the show's been out one day and you've written 85 articles on it already.
Yeah.
I don't remember if it was you about one of the trailers, or that they think that there's another woman, right, that we haven't seen yet, another actor in this. Isn't there?
Yeah, Sophia DiMartino?
Yes. And people think that she's the other Loki, that it's going to be, we're going to get Lady Loki like we did in the comics. And I kind of I don't think that's that far-fetched. I would be into that if it was the case.
I want that to be the thing.
Yeah, right? That would be cool.
Well, they went out of their way to, as soon as he was we're looking for the villain we're looking for is Loki, and then they cut to the scene and it's a very clearly shrouded person.
Yeah.
Doing this.
So
it's kind of dangerous though to be setting stuff on fire in a cloak.
I mean, yeah.
You gotta be a god. You gotta.
Yeah.
I mean, that is stressful, but maybe it's flame retardant or whatever the word is.
So we get his trial, and Mobius had just been visiting a church where, I mean, now retroactively, we know that it was that other Loki did a bunch of murder, right? And he found this little girl. I did read a specific thing. It was you, right? Yes, this was you, Brett. That the little girl points to the devil, and immediately I was like, oh, everyone shut up. I don't want to hear Mephisto. Everyone shut up. Just clearly Loki has horns, and that's what she's pointing to the devil. And that was you, right? That wrote about that, Brett?
Yeah, well, my managing editor Alex wrote an actual longer piece about shut up, please. This is not Mephisto. Literally, Kate Herron, the director, was quoted as saying, oh my God, we watched Loki, or we watched WandaVision. Everyone was, all this Mephisto stuff happened. We were like, oh shit, like they're going to think it's not. It's just because he has horns. Like
that shot in the trailer was referenced in countless YouTube videos for WandaVision. Like, it's on them. It's really on them.
But so that little girl points to that devil. We know it was Loki. Then Mobius comes in and he kind of, Loki's getting his trial. He's like listening in. And I like the back and forth here because, again, we're presented with these people who don't care that you are a god, Loki, but Loki's continually trying to like be like, but I'm a god. And they're like, that's cute for you. Like, no one gives a shit. And I love
that journey for you, Loki.
Yeah. I noticed that, and someone pointed this out, that, and I think this could be true. I would be curious what you guys thought, that like one of the like old timekeepers, that one of them is probably Kang, which I think is probably true, right?
Well,
no.
There is, so I mean, Ravonna is Kang's like, girlfriend / assassin.
Yeah, man, I really want that. I want them to like, don't fix that. Let it be problematic.
My coworker Megan pointed out they cast Jonathan Majors as Kang.
Yep.
With so much notice for Ant-Man 3. Like,
that's true.
Right.
Around the time they were filming. So I'm wondering, Kang could show up. And that's a thing that would actually make sense and not be like a Mr. Fantastic in WandaVision
right.
kind of thing.
That's what I mean. Like, it's not like crazy to think.
I also want to point out that Marvel was like, oh, you guys like Black Love from Black Panther? Okay, so like, let's do that with Kang and
A tale as old as time. A love that never ends.
Oh, man.
I mean, I've just read all of Ravonna's, because I always do these big rereads of all comics, or reads, because I've never read this stuff, but like, Ravonna is a maniac. Like,
yes.
She starts off as like a damsel in distress princess, but then there's this whole stretch where she's like impersonating Nebula and basically like beats the shit out of Avengers for a year.
Mm-hmm. Just for shits and giggles.
She's wild. So go for a Gugu Mbatha-Raw.
But yeah, so that's like, I could see that. But I love the scene of him being like, we see him try to pretend to you. We see him like use his powers, but fail. When he's like, wait a minute. And he does it again. Brett and Adam, that reminded me a lot. All I could think of was Halfrek in Buffy when she's like trying to leave the house and she's like, oh, damn it. And she has to break her own spell so she can use her own powers.
Right.
That's what that reminded me of. I always appreciate
I love like there being like a little bit of a boundary.
Yeah. So then, but Mobius stops before he is incinerated, I'm assuming is what they were going to do. And Mobius is like, wait, I can, let me handle him. And she immediately like knows what he wants to do because she doesn't want him to do it. But he does get, I don't really have this in mind. I forget what it is. Like, what is it? Just that she's like, fine, take him.
Yeah, yes. I think so. How can you say no to Owen Wilson?
I mean, right.
But also, I want to know what that relationship was like. Not saying that it was romantic in any way, but like they clearly have a history. So is not the first time that Mobius has been like, yeah, let me do this thing. And it probably has not panned out. So I'm curious as if they'll possibly touch on that a little bit. I hope they do. But my ears perked up because that banter was just really fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I did put this, I have to mention this because this really made me laugh. When Loki's trying to blame the Avengers, and like, he's not that wrong, right? Like, I don't think he's wrong. Like, I hate to say the like evil god is right, but like, he's kind of right. But he says specifically, believe me, you can smell the cologne of 2 Tony Starks. I hope that was like really good. I
love this picture that movies that he is not in paint of Tony Stark like that. And also the Thor Ragnarok moment where like Mark Ruffalo is wearing the clothes. And he's like, God, he wears his pants so tight. Just love that.
But yeah, so I mean, Tom Hiddleston is just so enjoyable to watch. That that I think that like this could have been the slowest episode of TV and it would still be enjoyable. But it was not the slowest episode of TV. So Owen Wilson or Mobius takes, which I spelled wrong every time I spelled it in my notes. I have it spelled differently.
Morbius, give me Morbius.
So he takes him back to like this like office that also looks like a 50s weird room. And I love that on their way there, he says like, I don't like to talk. And what does he say? Like, I know. And you also like to lie. And that was your first lie that you just told me because you do like to talk. And he like circles back to it again when they get to the front of the doors. And he's like, I thought you said you didn't like to talk. And you can see Loki being like, God damn it, these people. Like,
yeah, this scene, though, the masterclass in like acting of this scene, of this interrogation scene, which is a big info dump, but they make it to where both Owen Wilson and Tom Hiddleston are playing characters that are simultaneously intimidating and hilarious.
Yeah.
And they, like, neither of them are intimidating, like, at the same time, like, they just trade off. Like, they keep undercutting each other. You're never sure. When you think that Owen Wilson is the dumb, all of a sudden he does something that makes you think, nope, he's the smart one. But then as soon as you're like, man, Loki's really being a chump, then he does something. The dance that they play it's so fun. And I cannot wait for 6 episodes of that.
Owen Wilson's character, Owen Wilson is doing something that's like doing Gene Wilder very proud. It's this sort of like, kind of like a little bit was touched on in Willy Wonka. This is just something he always did, which was just like this sort of like that sweetness that would allow you to drop your guard, but then he kind of gets you a little bit, but it would never be evil. It would always just be a little like, you know, you were always still a little bit on his side, and you knew like, okay, he's just kind of just seeing me is kind of the most intense it gets.
You know who else? Owen Wilson is like channeling in this for Mobius? Iyanla Vanzant. Because if you have ever watched Iyanla Fix My Life, it is very much so the same energy as Mobius, kind of like showing, like making Loki watch his life back and like saying something nice and then cutting him down. Saying something nice, then cutting him down. It was I was like, did Oprah produce this? Like, what is this? Miss Van Zant's influence on the MCU, the last.
I'm amazed she's not been cast yet. She is going to be one of the space lizards. It's Jean Smart. We got her. You know, it's going to be
Jean Smart and her.
Yes.
Coming in together.
I will fish. I will get Marvel. I will get an M tattooed on me.
Well, listen, it's going to be not on her watch. It's going to be literally not on her watch. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the two of them, I mean, not to oversell it, but like it's reminding me a lot of Agatha and Wanda together, where it's like, oh, these people don't really like each other, but they're enjoyable together. Mm-hmm. And I think a little bit that's what like was missing from Falcon and Winter Soldier, was that they were both kind of like stick in the muds, and it's like, but neither one of them is like the fun one, and we needed like a fun one. Whereas here, it's kind of like they're both kind of a fun one. Less so Mobius, but he also, because he's like, Owen Wilson is still doing Owen Wilson. Like, it feels like he's like doing his Royal Tenenbaums stuff. But yeah, I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things where this is the third Marvel show we're getting right now, and it's a lovely break because it is not explicitly so far about an exploration of trauma. So I think it is.
That's also true.
I think we're getting a little. We did explore some. We did like just tape his eyes open and watch his mother's death and his own death and all that, but we.
Right.
But hey, we got a serial killer to find.
That's the thing. Like, he does seem to have processed that pretty quickly, and so yeah. So,
but yeah, so Owen Wilson or Mobius does his like, this is your life stuff with Loki. We also learn, which is important, he has that time turner thingy that's like a button that's in his hand. So when Loki goes to like attack him, then he's just back where he started. So while they're talking, Loki like gives his shtick about being a god, and like, I forget what he's saying, but he's saying like, oh, I would be king of space. And Mobius is like, a nice feather in your cap, Loki, king of space. And it's just like, he's so shitty. Like, he's not really being shitty. He's just kind of matter of factly like, oh, that's what you said. But it's
that's the
still
worst
like,
shade is when someone's just like, just like patiently being like, no, tell me your plan.
Well, and even
then
this
your plan was to,
this whole setup, like the specific scenes they show from Avengers were so perfect because what Loki is so mad at right now is that he can't move on his own. He doesn't have his powers. No one believes, like, he has lost all power. And then they show him the scene of him and Avengers being like, the worst thing about humankind was choice. Like, and it's very much like, you made your bed, lie in it. Like, it's, you don't like it so much, do you? It's very, I just love how it totally dissects and breaks him down. It's so cool.
Yeah, and another thing, Mobius is like, big metaphor guy, makes you sound super smart. And Loki says, I am smart. And he says, okay. Like, there's no...
I love that.
Right?
It would shred me. Like, yes. I would just be shredded. Like, I would just be like...
I would have been crying. Like, you're right, I'm terrible. Like, that okay? I would have been like, I know I'm pretending I'm actually a piece of shit. Like, I just feel like I would have spiraled immediately.
I also loved when he was like, so, like, you've never achieved your glorious purpose, but you're really good at helping other people achieve their glorious purpose. Like, I mean, you did kill Phil Coulson, but I mean, that formed the Avenger. Like, it's just like so good.
I will say at that moment, I was like, oh, is this where they're going to say, but you didn't even kill him, right? Because he came back to life.
Me too.
No. Right?
No.
Because S.H.I.E.L.D's not in canon!
With that echo, fuck. Yeah, I mean, I was like, ooh, is this where we're going to do it? And then I was like, oh, no, we're not going to do it, are we? No, we're not. Okay. All right. I mean, fine. But I wouldn't have minded a bit like, but then we get the DB Cooper bit, which I did like.
Yeah.
Adam,
he looks just like the police sketches too, which is
it's crazy. Yeah,
which is wild.
Yeah,
because there's a Mystery of DB Cooper on HBO Max. I watched it when it came out last year, and so seeing that all reenacted, like he says the exact same thing that DB Cooper said to the flight attendant. And
oh, really?
Yeah, it's crazy. They did a really good job.
Because I googled that after, because I knew that I'd read that was going to be in here. Which, Adam, I can't remember if you said this before recording or during, but like how you thought that was going to be like an episode, and I did too.
Yeah, it was before. Like, so I mean, like that was all over the trailers where it was like, he's kind of in his devilish suit and he's kind of winking at at the flight attendant, and she's not into it. And then like she kind of jumps out, and so like that was, I was thinking was going to be like, because they were intercutting it with this all like, we need your help and you're going to help track down the so-and-sos. And I was like, oh, he's just going to get slick. And then this is his look for the rest of the show. And then they were like, no, he's going to be this like famous person in history.
Which like
for a Family Guy swipe away aside.
That's a really accurate description of it.
They were like, oh, that's... Yeah, Loki, I know, but remember the time you were DB Cooper? Like,
yes, Stewie's like, remember the last time we flew on a plane, and then cut to that scene. But yeah, I did like that, and I did Google it, and Brett, I was like, holy shit, he looks like this sketch, like that looks like Tom Hiddleston.
Yeah.
But so we get that's the only part when I was like, okay, now it's getting a little tedious. But then we like, I don't know. I like the stuff with the mom because, while we have done Dead Parent, I for lack of better words, to death in the MCU, it's like everyone's got a dead parent, everyone's upset about it. This felt a little bit different because it's like we watched that happen in the movies. We knew that parent, and it was nice to see because the reaction they had in Dark World was just too easy breezy. Our mom's dead. Okay.
Well, he does so many like crisscross in that movie. Like he was like pretending he wasn't into it, then just kidding, he was. He was very depressed, in that room. And then just kidding, he was trickery, and then and then he goes to fight it. Like, I mean, Dark World was like Loki was all, and then even at the end he was dead, and oh no, he wasn't. He's owed secretly.
Yeah. And like, it also makes sense because, right, even if we're going for like ultra super villain Loki, who just, had all these aliens murder a bunch of people in New York. Okay, yeah, I still believe that he would be upset that like him sending those like trolls up to wherever is what led to his mom being murdered, right? Like, okay, even if he's a heartless killer, he still might be upset about his mom. And Tom Hiddleston, I thought, did a really good job. The like acting in that scene was really good because he's like muted, but like you can see the hurt in his face and you can see the tears in his eyes. And I don't know, I liked that. I liked seeing him react. Like we're literally just looking at his face reacting to this movie where his mom dies, like, I don't know. I thought that was definitely a good choice to also humanize him because this is supervillain Loki, but like showing, okay, cool, he does care about his family.
Well, and it's just showing that, if we're talking about everyone's destiny and stuff like that, like Loki was always destined to like change, and like, steer away from his villainy and all of that too. I thought that moment was brilliant, actually, because we're doing a whole reset. Like they literally stripped him of his Asgardian robes, or leather, I should say, and they showed that, yeah, regardless, like he's still capable of, actually having emotions and caring.
Yeah, I mean, Mobius gets him all the way to the core of like, why do you do this stuff? Why did you suck that guy's eye out? Why are you an asshole? And it comes down to just like, he does, like, Loki doesn't like love himself or feel confident. The only way to like assert, his dominance is just be an asshole to people. Like, it was like, oh my God, that's so like, what the greatest trick of a weak person is like being scared. I can't remember how he says it, but it's just like, God, that's so, yeah. And then that's the most like raw we've seen. That's some raw Hiddleston.
We needed to see him. I think like, because again, he needed to go against this sort of formidable foe, like something that was just, he needed to go up against the cold, uncaring universe, rather than like his brother who would challenge him and he'd be like, "Oh, I'm gonna show up, Mom, but I'm gonna." Like he wasn't doing any of that. There was no one to show up. No one was impressed or not impressed. Everyone was just blank.
Didn't care. Yeah, which is like
they were
worse.
Just like They were like, "Yeah, I mean, sure, I agree. You're cool. Like you are not real, and we do need to like you to come. Either like we're gonna zap you into non-existence, or you're gonna come help us with this thing. It really does not matter."
Yeah, you know what? That's it. It's like, okay, you can help us or we can kill you. We truly
That's
don't
the thing. Like they
weren't
trying to be like, oh, we're gonna make him feel like a real piece of shit. Like
right.
They were just like, no, we just need you to like whatever you say. We're just gonna. This is more important.
Yeah, which is almost like, I don't know. I feel like you and I can relate to that, Adam. Right?
It was like, this is me every time I'm spiraling, and someone's just like, "Yes, I understand your spiral. You're very valid." The dogs do need to be walked. They will go to the bathroom on the floor right now if you don't want.
My mom's like, you're I get it. You're depressed. Did you take out the trash? We have fun here in hell. So also there's right after that, because Loki kind of thinks like, oh, you're showing me this, but this isn't real or whatever. And Loki says, I'll kill you. And Mobius says, what? Like you did your mother? And like, Jesus Christ. Like that made me like I like clutched my hands to my chest. Like, oh, did he say that? Can he say that?
He went there.
So Mobius is pulled away because there was a situation, but the situation is just, we got to talk about what the fuck you're doing with Loki. Get him out of here. And Loki has escaped because he is a trickster. I will say I was a little worried. I was like, oh shit, is this going to be like, oh, he's like causing chaos throughout but this, I thought it did a good job of serving the purpose of humbling him even more because he's escaped, but there is nothing he can do. Like he knows, it either is I help them or get incinerated. They don't care because look, I'm wandering around this place and nothing matters.
They just touch you with the stick and you go away. Like they're really like no one's bothered.
Yeah.
Right.
No one is bothered at all. And so we meet Casey. Well, we again meet Casey, who is the front desk person. Loki
Internet's
goes
new boyfriend,
to him.
Casey. Yes, thank you.
Eugene Cordero.
So Adam and I mentioned this before recording. I tweeted this. Stephanie, I'll need to know your opinion. I don't think you were here yet when I brought this up. Do we think this was a Scream reference? Because he asked the man his name. The man says his name is Casey. Loki deepens his voice and says, "I'll gut you like a fish, Casey." Casey, which is what Ghostface says to Drew Barrymore's Casey Becker in Scream 1 in the opening. Stephanie, what's your opinion?
I think that it is. That's what I thought. And then the fact that he didn't understand that reference, I'm just like, okay, so y'all aren't watching
what's
TV,
a fish?
huh? Right?
It has to be. His voice went to that place, gut you like a fish that has not been uttered in a film since Scream. And he's in this whole bunch, and this whole MCU is one big little pop culture fest. So yes, that's 100% what the thing is.
That is true. It is. That is true.
I think it's just some shit they did on set. I don't.
Also, it's just funny that Loki sat up and watched Scream, like the whole Scream franchise at one point before dying.
He was not even before dying, like before his whole like usurp of the throne. Like this was like in the early days.
Yeah, you're right.
After the DB Cooper thing, but before finding out that he's adopted.
Yeah, like before he even got in touch with Thanos, he just really was like every other, depressed queer person.
Well, I think Thanos worked at the Blockbuster that he rented them from.
Oh my God.
It's the same Blockbuster that Captain Marvel crashed into.
Yeah. Yes.
It's like Loki's like, yeah, I watch Scream. Yeah, I stand Gale Weathers. I'm a basic gay.
He would be for Gale. Yeah.
Of course he would be. Are you kidding me?
I mean, Gale might be Loki.
That's true. Yes, exactly.
I mean, those bangs. That's chaos.
Loki had short hair until he saw Scream. So, I have he took the Gale hair. Yeah.
I have like 4 different points about this. I'm just like, this has to be right. It's Scream. Oh my God. That was like my exciting moment. But I love that he opens that drawer, sees all those Infinity Stones, and they don't do shit. It doesn't matter.
It was so powerful. It was just to have it just be like that moment needed to happen for him to just shut up and and stop trying to get out of here.
Yes, because like you said, Adam, it was like 20 movies of like, ooh, we can't even go near these things. And now here we are.
The most important thing to every important character to us for the last decade.
It killed so many women. If you were an assassin in the Marvel Universe,
oh God.
Done. God, I hate that so much.
I killed so many women. Fuck, Jesus Christ.
It's so. How do you kill Gamora and Black Widow, characters that are arguably interchangeable on their teams, in the exact same way in back-to-back movies, and not see that you're being lazy?
Well, she couldn't biologically birth a child, and Jeremy Renner had children, so his life was more was worth more.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Rewatching Endgame was just like, and she's just like, no, your life was I'm like, after he'd spent like years just like killing swaths of people who had nothing to do with Thanos in any way.
Well, this fall, we'll see him managing an apartment building in Brooklyn. If it's accurate.
What is happening with his character? Yeah, it's not even his. I thought what's her name? Who's going to be the lead in Hawkeye?
Haley Steinfeld.
I think like it's. She's not even playing his daughter that he was like teaching to do the Arrow stuff with in Endgame. So I'm just like.
I did think, even though like I know
80s sitcom kind of like, yeah, now I'm teaching this other person.
I did think, even though I know that's not the way it is in the comics, I thought that's what they were going to do in the MCU. I thought that was like the whole point of showing that, to be like, this is going to be Kate Bishop, so we can get rid of Jeremy Renner because he is a problem. But no, that's not what happened. Anyway, getting back to Loki, so he ends up back in that same. He's traveling around. I got to point this out because people are talking about it. There's no way that's fucking Peggy Carter that walked through that portal behind him, right? There's just no way.
What? No, I don't even know what you're talking about.
What?
Stephanie, did you see that online?
No.
Oh my God. Am I the only person that follows these people with those like...
Unfollow them. They sound horrible.
Like they're doing shrooms.
People, I mean, like, no disrespect, but the people that do the like 80 Easter eggs in every episode of this Marvel show YouTube videos by 5 a.m. No, thank you.
Well, the problem, I don't know. Like, I think, well, first of all, Brett, don't tell Ian to do any healthy internet habits. He will actively do the opposite. You'll be like, you're not my dad. I'm going to keep doing this thing.
Oh, me?
But you know what? But if it is her, like, did they like come pick her up because Steve came back? Because if so, that's another reason to dislike Steve Rogers.
Fuck is Steve.
Maybe he is on the moon like everybody was thinking.
Oh, God. I hate theories. I hate fan theories so fucking much. If I could
wait. Let me tell
erase
you all.
one thing from existence, it would be the concept of fan theories.
Let me tell you all what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Fuck fans. Just in general, how dare.
When Loki's like scrambling around the hallway, there's one of the guards comes in holding a woman with like a very 50s-ish haircut, and she's in like a blue button-up blouse and like a pencil skirt. And so people immediately were like, oh, is that Peggy Carter? And
as opposed to literally any woman from the 50s.
Right. As opposed to white woman from the 50s, which is like, okay, that's fine. It doesn't have to be Peggy Carter. And also like having one of the people they pick up fit the aesthetic of the set also makes sense for that fits the aesthetic, right? Of the show.
It has to be a reference. Everything has to be a reference, and every character has to potentially show up in every episode.
I'm watching this clip right now, and I mean, sure. For reasons that are funny to me, I'll say that it's Peggy and that they picked Steve up too, and they erased that whole thing out of existence. And that's why Sharon Carter got an apology at the end of Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
That's why she felt so confident on the steps of the Capitol, being like, "It's done. I'm in." Yep. The spy.
She was talking to the lizard. She was like,
the spy lie has been believed. Yeah.
Okay, but so that I'm always like looking just because like, you know, I didn't think it would be fucking Peggy Carter, but it's like, oh, maybe they'll like make it a reference to like, because a thing the MCU likes to do, I feel like with references like that, it would be a throwaway character that you could say is someone, but they're not going to reference.
Or it would
Peggy
be like,
Carter.
she would be wearing a costume from the comics. Like, It would be just like some, like, oh, this is a background character in a Walt Simonson issue. Like, they would do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, or like an AIM soldier outfit, right? Where like, we wouldn't recognize the outfit, but maybe someone else. But like, yeah, that's not going to be right. Okay. I just needed to address that because I know some people. So Facebook is a nightmare anyway, but my Facebook is especially a nightmare of like, all the recommended things are always like no name site dot like edu, and it's like
you can
random Marvel theories.
Right now, we will see Wanda's twins as somebody's arms before we'll see Haley Atwell show up in the show.
I mean, she's I Stephanie,
why didn't they make Billy and Tommy puppets?
I just really wish they
hands, but they're Billy and Tommy.
You know, I did see your fucking tweet of is Loki gonna meet Harriet Tubman?
Well, yeah, because whenever these let's play around with time comes up, just as a Black person, I'm just like, okay, so here's where you need to stay away from so that we don't have any questions. Because it's always going to be like, so y'all just let slavery, you just let World War II happen, you just sat back. So you just let all these things happen. Cool. So
you had to go steal $200,000 from a Seattle bank and then jump out of a plane. Great.
Right. So
someone could show up and be like, that was supposed to happen.
Loki inspired the Underground Railroad.
Oh my god!
I'm gonna faint right here on the middle of the podcast.
But I do love.
I'm so sorry.
In the poll that Stephanie tweeted, one of the options was like, "Please let her live. Please let her." What was it? Please let her like sleep or rest.
Please let her rest, and it was like 84%. And I'm like, cool. So I'm happy we got that out the way. Someone's gonna ask.
But so it's not Peggy Carter. He ends up back in that office. I don't know. I liked watching him. So then he fast forwards, right? And he watches that his father also like passed away. And I don't know. I thought this was a really good way of making us like this Loki, who we already do like, but it like gives him a more human side that we had gotten to after 500 movies, but had been erased because of where this Loki came from. I don't know. I just thought that was like storytelling wise. I mean, all of us are writers, right? I think story wise, that was a really smart way to make him human quickly, right?
Speed it right on up.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they did. So again, like showing him like have not say anything, just show the facial expressions and stuff like that. It's just letting you know that they're already playing with the themes of choice, destiny, and all these other things. And it's just like, yeah, Loki is a terrible, terrible person, but he too can do good. And he's capable of that.
Right.
And I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. And then he kind of just, Loki and Mobius have a talk, and it kind of is just like, I don't really, I wasn't sure. I haven't rewatched it. I was meant to. Is there like it's that he's just going to help them hunt the other Loki, right? That's like the plan here, right? That's what they need him for.
I mean, it seems to be right now, but according to our little animated video, we're heading toward, like, it feels like it telegraphed right away that, like, yes, whatever is going on here will fail, and there will be a multiverse war, and there will be, and like the TVA, they were basically like, if the TVA went away, there'd be a Multiverse of Madness movie right afterwards. So I feel like there's gonna be some sort of a, like, it's either gonna be maybe like, ooh, there was rot within the TVA, we got to get it, or there is some triumph for whatever the villain is.
Wash that rot right out of my TVA.
and you know, like the TVA also isn't the only ones that are the quote unquote keepers of time, because Kang's whole situation is similar to theirs as far as like what affects, like, you know, where it is on the timeline or whatever, like that safe, like that John Wick safe zone or whatever. And then there's like two other companies, I'm just going to call them, that kind of do a thing. And then also, we don't know that whoever this person who's like killing these agents is actually inherently evil. Because they could just be from another timeline where they're trying to fix something or prevent something from happening in that thing. So that has me interested. So, you know, let's put away our, who are we calling the villain guns, and just let them, you know, set them on the table real quick. Let them rest. We don't have to pick them up just yet.
Well, I mean, that was like 10,000 think pieces during WandaVision, was just like, we're 6 episodes in, where's the big bad? This is ridiculous. I can't even stand it. So
I'm like, if y'all don't relax and just let things happen, like, oh my, like, I'm just saying, like, where are you going? I know outside
Netflix
is open
broke
again.
how we watch television.
They really did, and I hate it.
God, the four of us are such extreme online fucking grumps.
Because when you've seen this much, kid,
we're the space wizards. We're the space. We've seen it all. Right.
I'm sorry, the pandemic and Twitter like just changed me, because everything eroded away, and I'm like, oh my God, what is going on here? Like, am I contributing to the downfall of society?
Well, it's that whole like millennial Gen Z pride war going on right now.
God, I had to mute the word.
It's a bit.
Mute pride.
Mute pride. That's never a better like thing of just like, you are not in your 20s during Pride is when you have to, you're like, Pride month is almost here. Ugh.
Yeah, it's like take a drag of a cigarette with my hand shaking.
I was telling everybody who would listen, I was just like, I'm getting off. I'm not going to be online.
I don't even know what you're talking about, because I'm trying to stay off Twitter as much as possible.
I can't tell if you're doing a bit or you actually don't know.
No,
Brett.
I know that there is something about kink at Pride, and I thought it was old people, but then I saw I inferred from another tweet that it's actually the young people that are mad about it. And then I'm just like, you know what? I don't understand. I don't want to understand, and I don't care.
and Bob the drag queen kind of like got involved on this, and they were like, they kind of just shared a very harmless. And anytime like a Drag Race person does anything, like ever people are like, well, you should go die.
Right. Yeah.
So like they shared this like meme that was just like about like, just about Gen Z being a prude, and that sort of stuff. And and Gen Z will not stand for any of that, and they will. And the shade is supposed to go one way, and it does not come back the other way, no matter what.
It's bullying the other way.
Very much bullying the other way. And
How dare!
There are so many people like in Bob the Drag Queen's comments just being like, "Oh, not you too."
Listen, Bob survived Tamisha Iman. Bob can survive.
Yeah,
it's fine. It's fine. Love. It's just one of those things where, like, listen, when I was 19, I was just like, no, we are not doing that.
We are not those.
We are not those guys. That is.
Well, I like when I was 19, I wasn't on any social media. Also, I think I might have had a MySpace, maybe.
Yes, I definitely had MySpace. I was like
that. I really didn't.
2003. So yeah, I think I was about to have MySpace.
I was closeted and had no social media, and I don't even want to say I was happier. We will see what happens. We will see what happens. How I feel about that going forward.
Adam, I will say I was like the lowest run F- MySpace like person where like teen girls would come into my work and be like, "You're Ian Carlos from MySpace," and it was like my friends that I've had for that long will still like drag me about that. They'll be like, "Oh, you're Ian Carlos from MySpace."
Are you like an original influencer? Like,
fucking no, I made no money.
Do you have like a Wikipedia page?
No.
I got stopped on the boardwalk once, and that was like, I peaked then.
Wow.
It was like a gaggle of like tween girls that were like, stopped me, and my friends all understandably and as they should have made fun of me fucking forever for it. Anyway, getting back to Loki. So yeah, then we get a clip of this, this figure with their cloak up. They light the field on fire. They one assumes murders all of the TVA guards.
Very chilling Adventures of Sabrina.
Yes, it was. Yes. And that's the end. And now for a quick break. Folks, do you love movies? The good ones? Even the bad ones everyone told you not to like? It sounds like Super Yaki is the place for you. The team at Super Yaki loves movies. So much so they've dedicated every waking moment of their life to bringing you top quality merchandise to showcase your love for them. From super soft t-shirts celebrating the 20th anniversary of the cinematic masterpiece Josie and the Pussycats, to comfy sweatshirts made for the brave members of the Movies by Yourself Club. They even have pins of some of your favorite directors, like Sofia Coppola and Jordan Peele. Super Yaki joyously brings you tangible love letters to movies and filmmakers that you can wear with pride. Plus, the team at Super Yaki screen prints all their apparel using eco-friendly, 100% water-based inks, and ships with compostable poly mailers for an environmentally friendly alternative to online shopping. And as a special gift to you, listeners can save 10% on their order with the code SUPERSlayerFest, all caps, no spaces, at checkout. If the spirit moves you, find them at superyaki.com. Let's watch more movies, y'all. Brett, what was your favorite scene from this first episode?
The cartoon. The cartoon had me screaming with
that
joy.
Is very
I
you.
love that. Oh.
Stephanie, what was your favorite scene?
I think it was the Mobius Van Zant moment when he's just like, putting Loki through this very hardcore therapy session.
There's not going to be like there's some drama majors out there in college right now who are going to try to do that scene as like a brown bag play.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, they're going to be like a little two-person scene.
Adam, what was your favorite scene?
Definitely, I think it was like I just love Casey. Like it was like I think it was that whole like Casey scene, like down from like how like fun Casey was being, that got to like a fish Casey line, leading up to like the very, very unexpectedly powerful moment of the Infinity Stones being little pieces of garbage.
Yeah, I think this is like not fun, but I think it was Loki, like the reaction of him watching that his mom like died and also died because of something he had done. That just was like there was a lot I liked about this, but that I think was my favorite moment. And I liked all the lines I mentioned. Clearly I wrote them down. What grade do you give this episode, Stephanie?
I'm gonna give it a B+.
All right. Adam?
B+2. I could have done with some more me. It was a little skinny.
Okay. Brett?
A-.
All right. I think I'm a B+ as well. Thank you all for joining me for this.
I'm gonna have you do your grade first.
Yeah, because that's what I like.
Gonna
that's what I want to gauge it off of, right?
That's right.
I'm so sorry, Brett. You were the only one to give it A. Like, I wanted to, but I was scared, and I was like, B+ safe.
I am confident in my love of things. Like,
I love that you guys act as though I'm gonna be like, "Oh, you're fucking never allowed on the podcast again." You gave it a I don't care. You give it an F. That's fine. But thank you all for joining us. Thank you all for listening. And if you like Slayerfest 98, you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and anywhere else you get your podcasts. If you like us, subscribe to us, and rate us on Apple Podcasts. We could use some new positive ratings. And if you want to support us, you can support us on Patreon, where you get access to bonus episodes, our My Nudie Judy video series, and more. And if you want to find us on social, we are at SlayerFestX98. I'm at Ian X Carlos on all social media platforms. Brett, where can everyone find you?
You can follow me on Twitter or Instagram at Brett White, and decider.com/author Brett White, whatever, go there. That's where all this where too much Loki stuff is going on, quite frankly.
That's so where 80% of Slayerfest content tweets will be coming from, is decider.com/Brett White.
Too much.
Adam, where can everyone find you?
You can find me on Twitter at @Sass. You can also go to my website, adamsassbooks.com, where you can find links to my current book, Surrender Your Sons, and my future books, which are coming out next year.
And Stephanie?
You can follow me on Twitter at Steph_I_Will. And please do that, because I have a really huge announcement coming, hopefully the first week of July, because it is killing me. But yeah, just stay tuned.
All right, everyone. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.